How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my Week 8 prediction show. I did not do well last week, I will be honest. I went 9-6 in my Week 7 predictions, which gives me an overall record of 72-35. Last week did not go well. Obviously, I think the biggest surprise to me was the Blue Kitties pretty much dominating the Bucks on Monday Night Football in Detroit. Did not think that was going to happen. I've been very, very wrong about the Blue Kitties now 2 weeks in a row. They're on a bye week this week, so I can't screw that up. Speaking of bye weeks, the teams that are on bye this week for Week 8 is the Blue Kitties, the Cardinals, the Jags, Raiders, Rams, and Sea Chickens. So it is I think the biggest group of teams to have a bye during the season. So a couple less games this week. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We will start on Thursday Night Football in LA, where we will have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Bolts. Now, the Vikings are coming off a close game with the Eagles at home. I think that overall the Vikings played, for the most part, pretty well. There was a big catch in this game, a touchdown catch by T.J. Hockenson that was reversed. In my personal opinion, personally, as a Packer fan, I was okay with it, but it did look like he caught the ball. That seemed to be one of the big plays that kind of determined how that game went. The Vikings defense did allow Jalen Hurts to have his first ever perfect passer rating in his career. Carson Wentz threw 2 picks, but the positive side is they did hold Saquon Barkley to 44 yards on 18 attempts. So overall, the Vikings played better than I thought they would, but it just wasn't enough to overcome the defending Super Bowl champions. And they'll be taking on the Bolts. The Bolts are coming off a loss to the Colts. Again, this was a game I got wrong. I thought the Bolts would come out a little bit hotter, but they just did not. They struggled a lot. Although it is a good thing that Justin Herbert threw for a career-high 420 yards, but their defense allowed Jonathan Taylor 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. So, not great. The Bolts are really struggling right now. Justin Herbert, yes, threw that career high, but he also threw 2 picks. Their last drive, they were heading down the field and had a turnover on downs. Just couldn't complete that drive. And the Bolts have now lost 3 out of their last 4 games. It's tough. It's tough. This was a difficult game for me to pick. I do think that Wentz is playing. I know he got a little beat up in last week's game against the Eagles. But I think either if they go with Wentz or McCarthy, I'm going to roll with the Bolts here. I think it's kind of a coin flip for me, but I'm expecting the Bolts to bounce back. And this could just be the last time I'm really going to be all for the Bolts. They're starting to charger it, man. They're starting to charger it. But I am going to go with the Bolts for Thursday Night Football in LA. Then we will head to Atlanta, where the Dolphins are taking on the Falcons. The Dolphins. Can honestly say my biggest surprise on Monday was not seeing Mike McDaniel fired. Seriously, 1-6 is a horrific start for this Dolphins team. This Dolphins team that has enough talent to be one of the, in my opinion, one of the better teams in the AFC. But man, a blowout loss to the Browns is rough. Real rough. And I know that as a Packer fan, yes, the Packers lost the Browns, but the way the Dolphins are finding ways to lose football games in just it's horrific. Tua, again, 3 interceptions. It's his like second or third time this season. It's just he was benched for Ewers, and still that didn't do anything. They allowed Judkins 3 touchdowns, and they were 1 of 13 on third down. I mean, you're going up against a team with a brand new quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. Not that we'll talk about the Browns later, but it's not like they went out and, outside of Judkins, it's not like they did anything on offense. I'm just so surprised that the Dolphins are as bad as they are. And like I said, Mike McDaniel still having his job it's unbelievable to me. I don't understand. I don't understand it one bit. And I don't think this team, even when Tyreek Hill was healthy and playing, they weren't much better. So it's not that. I think the locker room is lost. I think Tua is lost. I think the coaching staff is lost. And it's just really dark and grim in Miami right now. They'll be going up against the Falcons, who are coming off a Sunday night loss against the 49ers, where they allowed Christian McCaffrey to have over 200 yards total. They were 0-2 on fourth down. Penix got beat up pretty bad, so I don't know how he's looking. As of right now that I'm recording this, it does still seem that Penix will play. Of course, Kirk Cousins is the backup. Bijan had only 40 yards, and Penix did fumble the ball. Overall, I wasn't too shocked that Atlanta didn't lose. Obviously, I picked the 49ers, but I was really surprised to see how low their offense was and how unproductive they were, because they had played so well the last couple weeks. So I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a better game, and it turned out to just be, for the most part, kind of boring, the whole game. I'm going to go with the Falcons here for a bounce-back win. Hey, buddy. For a bounce-back win over a Dolphins team who is really, really struggling. I'm taking the Falcons in Atlanta. Then we will head to Baltimore for the Bears, taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Bears are coming off I wouldn't say it's a convincing win over the Saints. I think they played okay. Caleb did not have his best game. I was really thinking the Bears would go out there and dominate, and they just didn't. It was still a game into the second half. They did cause 3 turnovers, so the Bears defense still playing very, very well. Swift played very, very well. He had 124 yards and a tutty. Like I said, the Bears defense, 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. So the Bears playing very, very well against a team that they should be playing very, very well against, the Saints. But I think the Bears could have played better. They were a little sloppy, but overall, they got the win, and that's all that matters. They'll be going up against the Baltimore Ravens, who are coming off a much, much needed bye, as the Ravens are struggling at 1-5. Not something any football fan saw coming. Obviously, missing Lamar Jackson is huge, and having to lean on Derrick Henry is basically all they've been able to do. Their defense hasn't been spectacular. They played all right for the first half against the Rams the last time we saw them before their bye. I just don't have too much written down here for the Ravens. 4 straight losses. Lamar's hurt. The defense isn't playing very well. The offense isn't doing much. But I'm going to go with the Bears here. I think the Bears are going to have a good bounce back game against a struggling Baltimore Ravens team. As of right now, Lamar Jackson was limited. He did return to practice, but he was limited. Unsure if he's going to play. Even if he does play, I'm still going to go with the Bears here. So The Bears get the win in Baltimore. Heading to Carolina, we will watch the Bills take on the Panthers. The Bills, another team coming off a much needed bye after now a 2-game skid. The Bills have not looked the best the last 2 weeks. Reigning MVP Josh Allen is struggling. The defense is struggling. Everyone is struggling. But unlike the Ravens, I have much hope in the Bills. I really do. I still think the Bills are a very, very good team. Having a week off and being able to rest and restructure and just get back in the groove of it. They need a get-right game, and I think that this is going to be... They need a get-right game, and I think this is going to be a good opportunity for them, especially because Bryce Young is not playing. So if the Bills can just make Andy Dalton uncomfortable and contain the run game, I think the Bills can do a very, very good job. I think they can win this game. But we will quickly talk about the Panthers, who did win on Sunday. It wasn't perfect. Like I said, Bryce Young got hurt. Andy Dalton came in. And, it's the Jets. And they struggle against the Jets. So only scoring 13 points doesn't really give me that much confidence in a Panthers team that is sitting at 4-3. They're doing very, very well. I do think that the Panthers are a team that are on the up and up. But I do expect them to play better, especially against a team like the Jets. Overall, Leggett had his best game of the season, 9 receptions, 92 yards and a tutty. They had 6 sacks on defense, 2 interceptions, but they were 5-17 on third down, which isn't great. Obviously showing in the final score they only had 13 points. But I think this could be a sneaky good game if the Panthers come out to play. But I am going to go with the Bills in Carolina for a good get-right game for Buffalo. Then we will head to Cincinnati for the Jets, the 0-7 Jets, taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jets, like we just talked about, coming off a loss to the Panthers. Justin Fields was benched for Tyrod Taylor, and it is just all bad. It's all bad in the Big Apple. I've been thinking all season that Justin Fields wasn't the problem. It seems to me in this week Justin Fields was a problem. If only there could be a team that could harness Justin Fields. I think Pittsburgh did a really good job of that. They let him go. Whatever. The Jets, they're the worst offense in the league. Hall has still not gotten into the end zone. The defense is bad. The offense is bad. It's all bad for the Jets. There's not much else to say about it. The Jets are 0-7. There's not much to say. Unless the Jets are able to get a win and get a win now, I don't see Aaron Glenn lasting more than a season in New York. On to the Cincinnati Bengals. They played extremely well on Thursday Night Football against the Steelers in the Icy Hot Bowl. I was surprised. I thought the Bengals were excellent on Thursday night. Joe Flacco looks great. And it makes me, as a Packer fan, feel a little bit better about that Sunday win against the Bengals just a few weeks ago. Flacco, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Chase Brown, 11 attempts, 108 yards. Jamar Chase, 23 targets, 16 receptions, 161 yards, and a touchdown. The Bengals, with a good, competent quarterback behind center, is using all the weapons that the Bengals have, Tiggins, Chase, and the other Chase, and they are doing remarkable. The last 2 weeks, they played the Packers very, very well, and they played extremely well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their defense does concern me a little bit. Of course, they allowed Aaron Rodgers to also go off, and that could be also just Aaron Rodgers being the GOAT, but their defense still does concern me, as their defense concerns me every year. But of course, I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll with the Bengals here. I just, there's no hope for the Jets. I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I don't think it's gonna be particularly close either. If even half of this offense shows up that showed up against Pittsburgh, the Jets are in some deep, deep, deep trouble. Ugh. So I'm going with the Bengals in the jungle on Sunday. Then we will head to Houston for the Niners and the Texans. The Niners coming off, like we said earlier, a 10-point victory against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. CMC was an absolute stud, and basically the entire offense for the Niners. Over 200 yards in total, 72 receiving yards, touchdown. Mac Jones didn't do particularly well. 172 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. But that defense, man, they showed up. They had Fred Warner on the screen, and they were just, you could tell that stadium was invigorated. It was electric, and the score doesn't necessarily show it, but they dominated that game. There was really never a doubt in my mind while watching the game that the Niners were going to win. This Niners team, and I in my little playoff predictor thing that I did at the beginning of the season, I had the Niners the number 1 seed with only 1 loss. Now, of course, those records can go wherever, but I did pick the Niners to be the number 1 seed. And that's assuming that the Niners were going to be 100% healthy. This is a Niners team that's playing extremely well, and they're not healthy by any means. By any stretch of the imagination, this Niners team should not be dominating in these games and playing so well as they are. And that's a testament to Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. I think it's great. And I'm a Packer fan. I hate the Niners. But this Niners team is doing extremely well. And if they were healthy, I mean, they would be probably one of the best teams in the NFC, and they are right now. So I hate to say it, but I'm on the Niner train right now. They're playing very, very well. The Texans coming off a Monday night loss in Seattle to the Sea Chickens. And watching C.J. Stroud behind that offensive line is really just rough, man. He was sacked 3 times, which brings his total to 18 sacks on the year. That is just not good at all. Stroud led the team in rushing yards with only 25. Dalton Schultz was the leading receiver, 9 receptions for 98 yards. And this Houston defense that was ranked extremely high, and they still think they are. I think they're still ranked pretty high. Allowed JSN to go off. It was just, oh man, I hate the Sea Chickens, but they just dominated that game, and the Texans they had a little bit of fight in them late in the game, but. Yeah, just didn't. I'm not sold with anything. I think the last 2 seasons, especially the beginning of this season, last 2 seasons, at least for me personally, the Texans have been one of the more disappointing teams in the league. There's so much talent on this team that it just blows my mind that they're just not able to win any of these games. 2-4 is not where I thought the Texans would be. But yeah, and I don't think it's going to get much better. I'm going to go with the Niners here. I do expect the Niners defense to continue to play very, very well. And I just don't see the Houston Texans being able to stop CMC right now. I'm going to go with the Niners in Houston. All right. Now we will head to Foxborough for the Cleveland Browns taking on the Pats. The Browns, like we talked about, coming off a very, very convincing win in Miami. Of course, a lot of that was defense, but for the most part, the leader for the offense was Judkins. Judkins had 84 yards and 3 touchdowns. Dylan Gabriel only threw for 116 yards. They forced 4 turnovers in what really was like I said, a convincing victory. But how much does that really say? I mean, the Browns, their defense has been good all year, and they kicked the crap out of a Miami team that, I mean, face it, we all figured they would kick the crap out of. I think I picked Miami, but who knows? I don't even remember now. But a convincing win nonetheless. I have a lot of faith in the Browns' defense. In their offense, not so much. And they're going up against a Patriots team who is coming off their 4th straight win, coming off a big win in Tennessee and Mike Vrabel's return to Tennessee. Drake May, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stevenson ran for 88 yards and a tutty. Booty had another touchdown. Their defense forced 2 turnovers, 1 interception, and 1 fumble against Cam Ward. And they sacked him 5 times and shut the Titans out in the second half. In what was the interim coach, I think it's Mike McCoy, if I'm correct, in his first game as an interim coach. The Titans didn't look great, and we'll talk about them a little bit, but the Patriots really dominated a team they should have dominated, but it still seems like the evil empire is rising again, and to be quite honest with you, I'm kind of here for it. I really like the story of Drake May. I do really like Mike Vrabel. The Pats seem to be rising. It's going to be enough to dethrone the Bills throughout the entire season. Then I'm not sold on, but I do like the way the Patriots are playing ball right now, and I am going to take them at home against the Brownies. I think it'll be a close game because the Patriots going up against a much better defense than last week, but I'm going to roll with the Pats in Foxborough. All right, then we will head to Philadelphia for the Giants taking on the Eagles. The Giants, coming off of what probably, in my opinion, was one of the biggest blown games anyone has ever witnessed. Of course, I didn't watch it. The Packer game was on while this game was on. But checking the scores throughout the day, I assumed that the Giants were dominating. They were dominating. They were up 19-0 in the fourth quarter and then allowed Bo Nix to go off. And we'll talk about the Broncos in a little bit here. Allowed the Broncos to go off and score 33 points in the fourth quarter. I wasn't really, to be honest, I'm not surprised because of the Giants. The Giants have been doing this crap for years. Jackson Dart had a really bad turnover late in the fourth, and Scadaboo was held to just 60 yards, no touchdowns. The Jackson Dart, for the most part, played fine. 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Like I said, that pick was late in the fourth quarter. That kind of spun it around. But they are going up against this Philadelphia team where Scadaboo, yes, he was held pretty much in check in Denver, is going up against the Eagles. And the last time they played, just 2 weeks ago on Thursday Night Football, he had 3 touchdowns. I don't think that's going to happen this time. They're going up against an Eagles team who, like we said earlier, is coming off a big win in a tough environment in Minnesota, where Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating, and Devontae Smith, 9 receptions, 183 yards and a tutty. A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 121 yards and 2 tutties. The only thing I really have to say about the Eagles is they got to get Saquon moving, man. They got to get Saquon moving. If this is the kind of offense, the air attack we can see from the Eagles every week, you get Saquon going back into the same spot he was last year, this Eagles team is going to be dominant again. I'm not entirely sold on their defense just yet, but I am going to pick the defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, to get a good revenge game against the Giants in Philly on Sunday. All right, and then we will head to the Superdome, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will take on the New Orleans Saints. The Bucs, coming off a pretty, let's be honest, kind of a lousy performance against the Blue Kitties. The Blue Kitties defense dominated the whole game. Baker didn't bake like normal. He was sacked 4 times. He threw a touchdown, 1 interception. Only 41 total rushing yards for the Buccaneers. They have now lost Mike Evans for the whole season due to a broken collarbone. That sucks, man. That is such a huge loss. I feel so bad for Mike Evans. He had how many straight seasons of over 1,000 yards receiving? And unfortunately, that streak is going to come to an end. And it's just, that sucks. It's tough, man. I feel bad for Mike Evans, man. I really do. This great Buccaneers offense that's been working extremely well with all the players that have been injured. Baker's been making it work. He didn't make it work. Didn't bake. 4-16 on 3rd down, 2 of 5 on 4th down. And they allowed Jahmyr Gibbs, his career high, 136 yards and 2 tutties. This Bucs team, man, they disappointed me, man. They disappointed me. I really got to say it, man. Just really disappointing on Monday night. Then let's talk about the home team, the Saints. The Saints are coming off a loss to the Bears, where Spencer Rattler threw 3 picks, and I think he fumbled it too. Kamara was held to only 28 yards on 11 attempts. Olave did have 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not really too much to say about the Saints. I think the Saints are doing just about what I figured the Saints would be doing. Give the Saints just a few years, I think they'll be all right. But right now it is rough. Now, you would think this would be an easy game for me to pick. Bucs are clearly going to win. Now, I am going to go with the Bucs, but divisional games are weird. Okay? The Giants beat up the Eagles the last time they saw them. You never know what's going to happen, especially in the NFC South. The NFC South is weird. But the Buccaneers have won the last 5 of 6 against the Saints. And I'm going to have to roll with the Buccaneers for a good comeback, get-right game. It's a good bounce-back game. I just think that the Saints are just not going to be able to handle it. I think Baker's back to bake. Buccaneers get a good win in the Superdome. All right. Now, let's head to Denver, where the Cowboys will be taking on the Horsies of Denver. The Cowboys coming off a extremely dominant win over their division rival, the Commies. This Cowboys offense is fun to watch, man. I hate the Cowboys, but this offense is fun. Dak Prescott is playing out of his flippin' mind. 264 yards, 3 tutties, no interceptions. Williams, 116 yards on the ground and a tutty. CeeDee Lamb returned for 110 yards receiving and a touchdown. Ferguson had 2 tutties. The defense got 4 sacks, 2 on Daniels and 2 on Mariota because, unfortunately, Jaden Daniels went out with an injury. Marcus Mariota came in, and then the Cowboys defense immediately got a pick 6. Oh, man. This Cowboys team, their defense looked really, really good. Their offense looked really, really good. I've always thought Dak Prescott was a stud. The Cowboys might be playing their best football right now. From a football fan perspective, put bias aside, the Cowboys are a fun team to watch, and they're playing very, very well right now. The Horsies, like we just said, they 33 points in the 4th quarter for a big comeback victory against the Giants. Bo Nix, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns. through the air and also had 2 rushing touchdowns. This Denver defense, through 3 quarters on Sunday, didn't do much at all. By the 4th quarter, we saw the Denver defense that we've been seeing all season. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This Denver defense is one of the best in the league. And I think the Broncos, Horsies, are doing good things in Denver, and I continue to think that they will. I'm going to go with the Horsies at Mile High on Sunday. I'm really excited to see how this Denver defense does against this high-flying Cowboy offense. I'm going to roll with Denver. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm starting to believe. All right. Let's head to Indianapolis for a AFC South matchup between the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. The Titans, like we said before, coming off a brutal loss to the Pats against their former head coach, Mike Vrabel. First game with a new coach, an interim coach, and didn't really look like much change, to be quite honest with you. Cam Ward continues to struggle. 265, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He fumbled the ball again. He was sacked 5 times. 39 rushing yards overall, 3 for 10 on 3rd down, and 0 for 2 on 4th down. I get it. Tyler Lockett, there seem to be letting him go. And I get it with the Titans. You have a lot of growing pains, especially with a rookie quarterback. But, man, I don't know how much we really expect Cam Ward to do behind that offensive line. I mean, it's really sad to watch. It really is. I think Ward's extremely talented, and if they could just get him behind a competent offensive line, I think we could see some pretty good things from him. We've seen flashes here and there, but I think it's really going to be a rough year or two for the Titans, especially right now sitting at 1-6, and they're going up against arguably the best team in football right now, the 6-1 Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are coming off a big win against the Bolts. Daniel Jones, 288 yards, 2 tutties. JT, 94 yards, 3 tutties. Pittman and Warren both had a tutty, and they won for the first time in LA since 1986, which that is a very interesting stat. I did not know that. They have the best record in the league. I had them at the top team in my power rankings. They're playing like it. They really are. I wasn't sold on the Colts until they started playing better teams, and they're beating better teams. I think they're going to do the same thing on Sunday. I don't think it's going to be much of a contest, but like I said with the Bucs and the Saints, divisional games can be weird. I don't think this one's going to be weird. I think it's going to be a pretty easy win for the Colts. They should beat up the Titans pretty good. So I'm going to go with the Colts to improve to 7-1. And then Sunday Night Football. Whew, been waiting all year for this one. Pookie versus the GOAT. The Green Bay Packers, the current number 1 seed in the NFC. The Green Bay Packers head to Pittsburgh to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm excited for this one, man. This will be the first time ever I'm going to be rooting against Aaron Rodgers. I'll say it right here. I love Aaron Rodgers. I think he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Best thrower of the ball. He's going to have his number retired on the facade of Lambeau for all eternity. Hall of Famer, Packer Hall of Famer. I love Aaron Rodgers. I hope he has his worst game ever on Sunday night against my Green Bay Packers. Let's go over quickly some stuff with the Packers. Most of this I went over in my post-game video after the game in Arizona. All right. Micah Parsons was the defensive player of the week in the NFC, rightly deserved. 3 sacks, 4 TFLs, 5 QB hits, 10 QB pressures. I can't wait to see what Micah Parsons is going to be able to do and really get Aaron Rodgers moving. We're really going to see just how much the old man is going to be able to scramble on Sunday night. Jordan Love, 179 yards on Sunday, 1 tutty. He kept the ball safe, no turnovers. Josh Jacobs, still not 100% with his calf injury. 55 yards, 2 tutties. Tucker Kraft also caught a touchdown and had a big 4th down conversion that ended up really flipping the momentum in that game in Arizona. The Green Bay Packers will be wearing their all whites, the winter warning. On Sunday night, they are undefeated, 3-0 when they wear the all white jerseys. And they'll be taking on a 1933 throwback uniforms for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of people don't like them. I actually think they're pretty slick, but that's just me. Let's look at some of the injury designations for the Packers returning to practice this week. Morgan and Quay, they were full participants. McManus, Lucas Van Ness, Dontavian Wicks did not participate, so not looking good for any of those guys. It looks like Haversick will continue to kick on Sunday night. Wicks injuring his ankle on Sunday. He went out early in the game, did not return, and LVN still not participating. Limited was Williams, Wyatt, Watson, Tom, McKinney, Jacobs, Hobbs, Belton, Banks were all limited. It's looking like Christian Watson, as of now, should be activated to play this game. We'll see how much he actually plays. I think the Packers have to have him on the roster now. I think we're at that, getting close to that 21-day period. How much are we going to see Christian? He'll probably be on a low snap count, but it'll be fun to see Christian back out on the field if he gets out there. It's going to be a rough game. The Packers have not won in Pittsburgh since December 6, 1970, when Bart Starr was the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, so a long time ago. Looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers has a chance to be the 5th quarterback all-time to defeat all 32 teams. The other quarterbacks to be able to do that: Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning. So a good class of quarterbacks if Aaron is able to do that. Aaron is coming off a pretty good game against the Bengals. He threw for well over 200 yards. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. He did throw, I think, 3 tutties, or four touchdowns. He had 2 picks, though. I am kind of concerned with this secondary, the Packers secondary against Aaron. Aaron knows how to dice him up, man. And with how Hobbs and Nixon played, I'll say this, if Nate Hobbs is playing on the outside the entire game again, I might just meet the Packers back at the airport and smack Matt LaFleur. I better see Carrington Valentine out there for more than 2 frickin' snaps on Sunday. I don't know what kind of crap that was, but that needs to change. That needs to change. Hobbs struggled big time on Sunday night, or on Sunday. We can't have that again. Carrington Valentine needs to be out there. Back to the Steelers. Pat Freiermuth, 111 yards, 2 tutties. Warren, he had 127 yards on 16 attempts. DK, 3 receptions, 50 yards. The defense got to Flacco twice. They had 2 sacks. But they allowed 342 yards of passing, 3 touchdowns. And let Jamar Chase go off. TJ Watt was pretty much non-existent. He had half a sack. But this is going to be a good test for the Packers, man. It really, really is. We're going to test that O-line. We're going to test the secondary. Jordan Love is going to be tested against a normally a good pass rush from Pittsburgh. I think Aaron and Love should both be able to dice it up in the secondary. Both secondary struggled last weekend. And this, I'm really excited for this one, man. Like I said, Pookie versus the GOAT. Yeah, man, I'm going with the Packers. I'm going with the Packers for a big win in Pittsburgh, taking down A-Rod. And let's be honest, I'm going to be completely honest here. If the Packers lose this game to Aaron, I ain't even going to be mad about it. I'm really not. But I'm picking the Packers. I think the Packers are the better team. I expect Micah Parsons to play well again. I expect Rashawn Gary to play well again. He had a forced fumble last week. I expect Evan Williams to play better. I expect this Packers team to play well in Pittsburgh. And let's really see what this Packer team can do. So, go Pack, go. All right, and then we will head to our final game of the weekend, Monday Night Football at Arrowhead. The Commies take it on the Chiefs. The Commies, like we said, coming off a really ugly performance against the Cowboys. Jaden Daniels didn't play bad. He played pretty good for the most part. Down a lot of weapons. He played well. He had 156 yards throwing. He had a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown until he got hurt. Marcus Mariota came in. He threw for 4 for 10, 63 yards, threw a pick 6, and dropped their second straight game. This Commies team, healthy. I think they're very, very good. I still think Jaden Daniels is an excellent quarterback. We'll see how Mariota does. Daniels is out this week. At least he'll miss this week. We'll see how it goes going forward. But they're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs team that, I hate to see it, but the Chiefs might be back, man. They blew out the Raiders 31-0 on Sunday. Mahomes threw for 286 yards, 3 touchdowns. Rashee Rice returned with 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense played lights out. They only allowed the Raiders to get 3 first downs. And this Chiefs offense had 30 first downs. No third down conversions. No third or fourth down conversions by the Raiders. The Chiefs defense looking great. Spags has got him going. They had a forced fumble. The Chiefs are back, man. I hate to say it, but it looks like the Chiefs are back, man. And I'm picking them on Sunday. I think the Chiefs, if it was Jaden Daniels, maybe and they're a little bit healthier, I'd go with the Commies, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs to improve to 5-3. I don't really have much else to say, man. Chiefs are back, and that sucks. So, I hope the Commies win, but if I was a bet man, I'm going with the Chiefs. So that wraps it up for our Week 8 predictions. Should be a fun week in the NFL. We're getting to about the halfway point. After this week, if we don't already, we have a really good idea of who's who, what these teams are. It seems like right now the NFC is stacked. The AFC's pretty much has the usual suspects outside of the Colts. I think this should be a fun week. Obviously, I think the best game of the week is going to be Aaron Rodgers taking on his former team on Sunday Night Football. A couple other sneaky good games in there. I think the Horsey Cowboy game is going to be really, really fun. I also think that the Thursday night game in LA could be a good slow burn. And Bills visiting Carolina, I think, could be a good game as well. So we'll see how we do. Hopefully I do better this week than I did last week. But I appreciate everybody watching. Take care. Go Pack, go.